Hey guys, this is Casper with Tape, and today you join me for episode 4 of the Outer Planets series. I know I haven't done one of these in a while, but I've been kind of caught up, and I like to live stream these, so I have to kind of live stream to get the footage recorded. I just haven't really been in the mindset recently, but I am back, and it's time to leave, well, it's back, I've never left here, but it's time to leave Tecto, so we're getting our little Kerbal walking off the surface. They've done all kinds of science and things, and there's actually been an update, so the atmosphere looks kind of different, and there's been some new moons added to other planets in the Outer Planets mod, which I think's cool. I might visit them at some point, but the matter at hand is getting off of Tecto, which I've always been kind of worried about, because it has a really thick atmosphere, and kind of not low gravity. It has pretty decent gravity, so, well, I guess we'll see. It's pretty easy to lift off with a jetpack, but it's... yeah, the thing is, it's bigger than the moon, and it has a very, very thick atmosphere. But yeah, let's just get into the air. We've got a... oh yeah, I guess it is the air. But we've got an aero spike, super efficient, powering us upwards. I'm going incredibly slowly because the drag is intense, and this is an insanely unaerodynamic spacecraft, which is probably a bit of a stupid move on on my part. But yeah, I'm pretty much just going to go as slowly as possible, as vertically as possible, and then just once I'm in space, gain speed, because that just makes sense. But not too slowly, or I won't be moving and I'll just be losing fuel. It's a very hard balance to find. But anyway, let's at least watch it at 4 times time accelerate if I'm going to go that goddamn slowly. And now it looks almost like a normal launch. But yeah, the other annoying thing is the atmosphere is very, very thick and very high. It's about 100 kilometers up, which is pretty ridiculous. My two Kerbals look pretty worried, but if the worst comes to the worst, they can jetpack their way to the spacecraft, I guess. But yeah, we are burning through fuel at a pretty decent rate now, and not getting too much speed, which is, well, worrying would be the word. But over in the... okay, good job for not cutting out that pause. Over in the distance, I can't really see it now, but on my right there was some nice mountains I like just looking at, coming over the horizon, over these beautiful green oceans. I think really it's probably best to try and land on unatmospheric worlds, because it is really thick. You can see I've burned through most of my fuel and have hardly any speed, and hardly any altitude. I'm just losing all of the energy from the spacecraft to the atmosphere, which is... kind of worrying, because, you know, this is my only way off. There's no other, you know. But anyway, there's a Sarnus rise there, which is quite nice. Sarnus is rather beautiful, my favourite of the outer planets. Well, in real life, I don't know what my favourite one is, but in KSP, Sarnus is definitely my favourite. So I guess Saturn would be my favourite, but I don't know. I kind of prefer Jupiter in real life, because it has so many cool moons. Anyway, it's time to push our way onto orbit-ish, although we don't really have the fuel for that. So, I guess just do whatever until we run out of fuel. But basically, I'm going to get my apoapses... I'm going to try and get out of the atmosphere as much as possible, and then try and get myself in any kind of an orbit with the RCS packs on the Kerbals, which is actually quite hard, because... well, they do have 600 meters a second delta V, I think, last time I checked, but, it's kind of a skew-if angle. I don't have a lot of time because I have to rescue 2, so, you know, it's a little complicated. But anyway, yeah, that's fucked, and we're starting to slip back down, so let's get a Magnet Kerman out and just start RCS-ing our way. I'm already picking up a huge amount of drag. The Kerbals have a really high drag coefficient, apparently. But anyway, the RCS pack does start to push me away, although stupidly... I kind of did this a little early, really, to try and keep myself afloat, which means my orbit ends up quite skew-if. And as you can see here, what can you see? Oh, so the map flickered for a second. I was wondering what the hell that scene was. I've put this Kerbal on the right trajectory, and now I want to get the other Kerbal out, but I'm still in the atmosphere. So it's kind of problematic, because I want to get them both out, and this one will be safe for a little while, but I just need to leave the atmosphere. Which should be relatively soon. Yeah, I think it ends at 84 kilometers. I thought it was 100. Maybe it changed. But anyway, god damn it. I think I'm finally out of the atmosphere. There we go. Let's get our other Kerbal out. You're not dying today. Not today! Now let's just push ourselves onto, well, yeah, onto kind of a similar trajectory, but hopefully a little bit after. Anyway, after all of that, I get 2 orbits. You can see one of them, this one, is actually the one, the second Kerbal, is actually in a pretty good orbit. She's about to get fully out of atmosphere. for like the whole time, but the other Kerbal, you can see that little grey line actually does drop quite seriously into the atmosphere, which could be relatively dangerous. But anyway, now we're going to use the ship's fuel to come and save them. I've got to be pretty careful, because this ship doesn't have a ton of Delta V. Well, it has loads of Delta V, it just doesn't have a ton of spare Delta V. So, yeah. Anyway, getting ourselves onto a nice trajectory there by, well, just slowing ourselves down relative to the target. Well, not actually slowing ourselves, speeding up relative to the target, but the orbital period will be lower. Then we're going to drop myself down onto the same actual altitude as it, and then do a radial burn to bring the separation closer again, because now I'm too far away to really grab the Kerbal. Now the main problem, some of you actually probably won't know because I didn't show the end of the burns on the Kerbals, I used all of the RCS on both of them to get into orbit. So basically what I've got to do, and I have no RCS on the spacecraft right now, so basically I've got to rendezvous with a Kerbal to within the accuracy of the door of the spacecraft, that tiny little like meter squared door, with nothing but a single directional nuclear engine. So that'll be fun. Anyway, I thought I'd just leave this in sped up because I didn't want it to be too long, but this is just how I was just trying to really carefully maneuver in with a nuclear engine. I thought this is, you know, could be relatively useful just to watch. Basically, just keeping the prograde marker on the target marker is just a matter of either burning on the... basically, when you burn your engine, it pulls the prograde marker towards you because you're changing your velocity in that direction. So by that logic, it pushes the retrograde marker away from you. Now you can see, because I want to slow down, not speed up, I just keep pushing the retrograde marker onto the anti-target marker. And there we go, I actually knocked the Kerbal there. That's how effective this method is. Anyway, so my thinking was this spacecraft is way too slow at turning to be effective at getting closer to the target. So I'm going to get my Kerbal out, smack the other Kerbal in the face with the other Kerbal's RCS pack, and knock it over to the door and see if that works. This is a pretty daring rescue. I mean, this is the least of the daring, because this is the one that isn't in atmosphere. If you do remember from a little earlier, the other one is pretty deep in the atmosphere, so there's a pretty small window at which I can save them. Luckily, physics isn't loaded for them, so they're not going to despawn yet, but in a bit, when we try and save them, they might. Anyway, it looks like I've got a pretty good trajectory on that, actually. That I call it the last resort maneuver. Anyway, I wake up as I smack into the spacecraft and get into the crew cabin. Thank God we had that. That actually makes it much easier. The meter squared thing may have been a lie, since I do have that big ladder on the crew cabin. But anyway, let's get back in the spacecraft and go and fetch ourselves another Kerbal, because we're bringing them both back, damn it. Bringing all 3 Kerbals home. The Delta V will be... the Delta V, like what we have left over, will be pretty tight for going back to Kerbin, and we might have to do a little aero braking maneuver, which might be difficult because Sarnus has a pretty harsh, pretty like edge atmosphere. Like there's no atmosphere, then loads, so I'm not even sure if it's possible. But anyway, on a brighter note, we're getting our intersect with La Kerbal after like quite a lot of orbiting. I think I had to warp forward 6 hours just to catch, well, for it to catch up with me. But yeah, you can see its periaps is quite low within the atmosphere, and we're actually approaching the atmosphere right now. We're a few kilometers above it, but we are actually heading towards it. So, let's just try and do this rather quickly. We're heading towards Kerbal pretty quickly, and I'm just doing the same sort of maneuvering thing, just just pushing the retrograde marker onto the opposite direction of the target marker so that we can, you know, get ourselves close. And you can do this if you don't want to be slowing down, you want to be speeding up. You just do the same thing with the actual target marker and the prograde marker. You just line them up, and then you're going to be heading towards them. On a really long scale, like if you're 100 kilometers away, not a great way to rendezvous, because you're going to lose your position based on the curvature of your orbit, and it'll just throw off how your orbit actually is. So it's probably best to do it more with changing the period of your orbit so that you'll meet up later. But when you're closer, you can just kind of do it by going at your target, which is, you know, useful. Not really how you... I guess it's how they do dockings on the ISS, but like maneuvers around the ISS are really cool when you watch them. They actually use the characteristics of the orbit to like drift below the space station and things. NASA recently put a YouTube video up where they repositioned a Soyuz, which is really interesting. And there's been some new Crew Dragon videos yesterday. The SpaceX put up some cool cinematics. They look freaking awesome. But anyway, we're almost at Maggot Kerman, and I'm just going to skip to when we're at Maggot Kerman, because it took a little while to drift in. It was pretty much just drifting. But yeah, we are actually in atmosphere now. The very tenuous levels, but still descending fast. But yeah, here we are, 26 meters away, and it's drifting away from me. It's actually accelerating because the Kerbals have much higher drag than my spacecraft for some reason, which is kind of weird. So I've got to get actually much closer to it if I have any chance of doing the same sort of last resort maneuver. But doesn't look like I'm going to be able to turn the spacecraft fast enough. And I was reading the chat at this, because this bit was still being in a live stream, and I was reading the chat at this point, so I totally forgot how to just turn a spacecraft, because I was trying to read stuff and turn, which was the stupidest thing you can do, is like get distracted by something else. Oh, and the other fun thing is, it turns out Kerbal Space Program really loves to randomly change the camera while you're doing RCS maneuvers. Like, I get that it automatically changes camera, even though I hate that. I can press V by myself. But when you're doing an RCS maneuver, and, like, the developers must know that this will happen, like, it'll just fuck everything up. So, maybe just, like, turn it off with, like, an if statement. If on EVA, don't do camera bullshit. I mean, there's a lot of problems that could be solved with some relatively simple grabbing and if statementing in Kerbal Space Program. The only two things that annoy me really loads are the camera freaking bullshit, and in the VAB, where if you click on like the side menu and there's a part behind it, it'll pick it up. Only two things that annoy me, which it has gotten a lot less kind of glitchy since I started playing, but still, I mean, come on. Anyway, so here's Magnet Kerman, and we're actually like a kilometer away now, and there's just no way I'm going to get her back, and she has no RCS fuel, so it's time to leave her. It's time to just let her fall back to Tecto, and just, you know, just let her go. It's over. Let's just get back to the spacecraft, and, you know, have some more camera fuckery, and then just, you know, have a big memorial for the Kerbal we lost. Because it's over. The goddamn drag was too intense. Tecto is far more dangerous than I thought it would be. The atmosphere makes things incredibly hard. So yeah, this mission hasn't gone brilliantly, but if we can get these two Kerbals home, that'll be glorious. And then we'll send more prepared missions. I think in the future I'm going to prepare a lot more for my missions. So yeah, anyway, here's Tecto, let's go. Just skipping through that because it was just drifting again. And then I've just got to get on the ladder, but we're in atmosphere and I'm being pulled around crazily. Which, and you can see the meters on me right now. I'm about to heat up. The Kerbal's actually starting to burn up. Incidentally, I think at least in Deadly Reentry, I'm not sure if in the stock game, but if you go backwards into the atmosphere, you're more heat resistant than if you go forwards. I'm not sure if that's still in the stock game, but it was in Deadly Reentry. Anyway, I actually didn't notice at this point, but I'm almost out of RCS fuel. And I just need to get in this goddamn spacecraft. So just get in the spacecraft. I'm being dragged away. It's like impossible to hold position at this point. The atmosphere is already too thick, and we're going really fast. So now it's time to get the fuck out. It's the GTFO maneuver, as Scott Manley would probably call it, and just burn upwards. Anyway, after doing that a little bit, I do get my apoaps up high enough, and then just go round to my apoaps, burn prograde, bring my periaps out of the atmosphere, and we're safe-ish. So I did some calculations with, you know, a little planning, a little mech jabbing, a little everything, and I need 2,200 meters a second to get back to Kerbin, minus any fine tunes. And I have 2,400 meters a second in my spacecraft, and that is assuming that I can do almost like circularization around Sarnus with an aero brake. I probably should have just gone from Tecto, really, but my thinking was I might need MechJeb to help me plan it. Even though but I was on a live stream, so I didn't really have time to sit down for like half an hour and just figure it out with maneuver nodes and a little bit of on the napkin math sort of thing. So I worked it all out, and I actually do have the fuel. So I start leaving Tecto, and as long as I can get a good aero brake, everything will be fine. So yeah. There we go, we've got 2 of our Kerbals home. 2 of 3, that's like 66%. You know what? You know what they do in NASA? They're like, 33% failure rate, that's good. That's good now. NASA doesn't really launch anything. I don't know the exact figure, but I know from reading The Martian that 4% chance of failure is, like, too high. So, I mean, you know, I mean, 33% is pretty bad. Anyway, so the atmosphere starts around 200-ish. So I've put my periaps there, and we're just floating by now. And hopefully I'll just be able to get a good air brake. I did do a few, let's call them simulations, and I was trying to do it like 250, and it just wouldn't atmo me. So 200 is about where it starts, so I'm thinking it should be fine. I'm just going to drift into the... Oh, it starts at 300. Okay. But even at 300, everything just explodes, because apparently this is a very, very thick, very hard, very atmosphere, and I'm traveling at 4 kilometers a second. Very atmosphere, much dog, such wow. But yeah, and it turns out there was the Kerbal in the non-heat shield defended bit of the spacecraft, so one of them's already dead, and after a little bit of falling, some more stuff burns off my power generation. I just let that go because it's trying to drag me forward, and you can see I'm actually falling at an angle because I just can't move the spacecraft. It just can't defy its motion at this point, and everything's heating up, and it's not going great. Really, this was the third one of my many mistakes about Sarnus. I was so unprepared for this mission. Like I just had no idea about Tecto. My space. I thought I could aerobrake around Sarnus for extra fuel. You know, just a lot of things I didn't really consider. So I think in the future, I'm about to run out of ablator as well. One thing I didn't realize, because it's never happened to me, once all the ablator's burned off, the heat shield actually turns black, which I didn't realize. I thought it just stayed that kind of like goldy color. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, we're actually starting to slow down now, but we will actually start to speed up again as we descend into the atmosphere because, well, because it has such high gravity, it'll just pull us down. And we can actually put our heat shield into the direction of motion now. And then apparently flip round. Okay, apparently we can't do that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm actually going to probably plan it much better in the future. Rather kind of just better planning. Bigger spacecraft, maybe some spacecraft that go first, feel it out, maybe mine some fuel, that sort of thing. I don't know. That's my plan. I'm going to have like fuel mining sent, maybe an actual station, then like a reusable craft for going back and forth. It's gonna be good. It won't take too long either. It sounds more complicated than it is, but you know. Anyway, so my parachutes are working, so that's good. So let's deploy all of them. Let's just get my parachutes out and see how deep into the atmosphere we can go, because this Kerbal's dead now. It's over. Orbital velocity is like 3 kilometers a second, and yeah, we're gonna go see what's in Sarnus. Although I was falling for a while, like a really long time, like a really long time. I mean, this Kerbal's been in space for almost 6 years now, and then yeah, here we are. My shield's been torn off, and I've actually accelerated to about 1 kilometer per second. But look how goddamn beautiful this is. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep falling until I'm crushed by hypergravity. I mean, the pressure on this is probably pretty bad. I wish I brought some instrumentation. But I kind of lost everything in my... I lost my lander with all the instrumentation. I lost that big bit on the bottom. I lost my parachutes. I lost my power generation unit. Yeah, pretty bad mission. Pretty failure-y. Interesting though. It's actually been fun. And those rescues, I thought those were great. And yeah, pretty interesting mission. Because it's just like a whole different beast from Joule. It's not like Joule. Like, Joule is kind of nice. It has a nice atmosphere you can break in. It has some nice moons you can play around in. Sarnus, hard, deadly atmosphere. Moons all pretty much massive or atmospheric. I mean, yeah, this is going to really need some serious planning and some serious spacecraft if I'm going to come back here and really take on Sarnus. And that is what I'm starting right now. Yeah, the last bit of the video is a couple of launches. I am going to design a thing, like a, I don't know how you describe it, just like a reusable big old spacecraft that goes back and forth to Sarnus and can take stuff out there. I'm designing this first, even though this isn't the first thing I'm going to send. The next thing I'm going to send is probably like a fuel mining kit that will go, I think, I want to land on Slate, but Slate's massive, so I'm going to need to mine fuel there, and then use all of my fuel for Basically, it'll just mean that I won't have to bring landing fuel and launch fuel. It'll be the same fuel, just fueled on Sarnus. Not Sarnus, on Slate, the moon I went to first in this series. I think that'll be epic. So yeah, I'm going to send a mining thing. I'm probably going to send a station and probably a fuel depot. And maybe just a few other spacecraft. But this is the core of the like transfer spacecraft and like the main spacecraft. It's got a bunch of space for Kerbals to live in, it's got a command pod, it's got a little service bay which has a few things I might need, it has some emergency fuel cells, and it has some emergency fuel. And I might install a Kerbal attachment system so I can add other things if I want. But yeah, this is going to be this is my next generation exploration program. This is the key first bit. And the next bit is pretty much just a few other little bits for it. It's actually 2 modules I'm launching next on a pretty similar vehicle, just with a smaller top stage. But yeah, this is the power generation unit and the docking ring, basically. So yeah, below this will be a big old drive stage, and this actually has 4 little docking ports on it for carrying landers, I guess like transfer vehicles for moving around Sarnus, anything just extra I need. And the transfer stage is going to be really big, but that is also going to be refueled at Sarnus. So yeah, I have an infrastructure in mind. I'm not sure how far I'm going to actually get with this infrastructure, because these kind of things take ages to build, and I'm not sure how much time I'm going to be able to devote to this, because this is kind of my secondary series. I like doing this, I really do. I love the outer planets, and I love just doing space exploration, because I feel like I do too much battle stuff, and KSP is about way more than that. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get my crazy infrastructure set up, my kind of mining place and my station and my fuel depot. It's not that many vehicles. I reckon I could do it in like 4 or so episodes. And hopefully I will. I think that could be really cool. But anyway, we are in orbit. Let's just dock this. You can see this is just a shit ton of batteries, some big solar panels, really big solar panels. And a thing with 4 docking ports. And it has some extra stuff attached to it, like those RCS cans are going to be dropped when I get to the mothership core, because this is called the mothership, by the way. I will think of a better name, or maybe you guys give me a better name. That'd be fine, that'd be good. Yeah, put your names in the comments for this, like, big old mothership. And it can't be the Hermes, because that's already taken by the Martian. But anyway, yeah, so let's just move in. I've just left this all sped up because, you know, pretty standard stuff. But, you know, it's nice to watch. So yeah, I'm just gonna do my standard kind of keep my retrograde on the anti-target bit, and just kind of move in. And it was actually pretty well lined up, just completely by coincidence, or maybe by just the way I launch in general. Interesting idea. Anyway, flip it around now, so I get the right docking port pointing towards it, because the docking port that was pointed towards it has a probe core attached to it. But yeah, just fairly simple. Just move in. Get nice and docked, and then drop the probe, drop the RCS cans, and yeah. And then we're all ready to put the drive section and some other vehicles and send a ton of stuff off to Sarnus, but that will all be in future episodes. I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time. Because it has like, I think 4 on the booster, the 4 on the main booster and 4 on each outer booster, and it has 4 boosters and 1 inner, so in total, when it first lights up, what does it have, like 20 engines going? That's insane. But yeah, works these days, although they don't have